Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in the little village of Kuala Sibuti near Miri in Sarawak. And this, I think the river name is Sibuti. This Sungai Sibuti.
Yes.
And those great men, as soon as they learned that I'm here to hunt for fruits, they are coming hunting with me. We are all well armed. Not because we are here in the river infested with giant man-eating crocodiles, but because the fruit we are hunting for is also quite a tough customer. It's the Nippa Palm. Basically, in most river mounds here in Southeast Asia, the Nippa Palm is very abundant. I was really surprised that here it actually grows in rather small pockets. Normally, it should be everywhere here. I don't know why. Maybe because this river mount has been fortified with giant boulders against the floods. Normally, this is the job of the Nippa Palm and of the mangrove forests. But here it seems this wasn't enough, so they've brought giant rocks from the mountains and fortified the river mount. So here the Nippa Palm grows only in small pockets. For example, here we have a teeny tiny pocket of Nippa Palm. Here we have a slightly bigger one. The three taller palms are coconut palms, but the small one down there is a Nippa Palm. Also those palms in the background. Interesting. On other river mounts you really get kilometers and kilometers of Nippa Palms, and they're actually the most important trees for the protection, for the flood and tsunami and erosion protection. Here's some more Nippa Palms. I don't know why they are not so prevalent here. I've seen them everywhere, like Thailand, Cambodia, Java, different parts of Borneo. Should have been more here. Maybe also the competition with the big mangrove trees. Let's see if we are going to this big shady clump of Nippa Palms behind this old stilt house, or if we are going... what is this buah? Nama buah ini? Buah ini baik? Buah pi dimakan? Tidak dimakan. Okay, there are some huge fruit hanging from the mangrove trees, and the folks say they are not edible. So here we have some bigger clusters of Nippa Palms. Earlier in the day I was at a small nearby river, much smaller than this one. This is like almost 100 meters wide. The other one was maybe less than 10 meters, and it was... one bank was covered in Nippa Palms. Here they're having some bigger thickets. I don't know if you can see the one here in the shade. There are Nippa Palms in front of the trees everywhere. Here is a bigger one. Now the only thing we are missing is some crocodile, but since the tide is high and we are at the evening of a hot day, well, first there are not really good sandbars around here now. They are all flooded right now, and second, the crocodiles will not be out of the water, I guess. They will be in the water to cool down. But everybody warned me to stay away from the water here because of the giant man-eating crocodiles, and also the first time I actually saw a big estuarine crocodile in the wild was in the next little river, which is less than 2 kilometers away from here. Well, little at the lowest couple kilometers, those are actually quite wide. I guess you could even use them for some smaller or medium-sized ships. They just don't use them because there are no towns upstream now. Let's see. We have passed a lot of bigger Nippa Palm thickets now. I haven't seen any fruit here. The beaches are covered with the fruit which fell off probably a couple weeks to months ago. I even made a video about sprouted Nippa Palm seeds, where a different part of the seed is edible. So the sprouted Nippa Palm seeds are, you have to treat them quite differently from the ones we're gonna get now. But as I said, here, yeah, he spotted them a second before me. But those are really small clusters, smaller than a football. Well, maybe that's the right age and the right size to harvest them. The biggest one, I think, was smaller than a football. I see a couple bigger ones over there. Let's see if we go right there or somewhere else. No, we seem to continue. This video might get a little bit longer, but I mean, at least you're gonna see some of the fruit hunting. I've rarely hunted for fruit from a boat, but actually I don't think I've ever made a video hunting for fruit from a boat. Oh yes, I've made a couple videos where I did not get any fruit and I did not upload the videos. But there is always a first time. Now, the worst case scenario would be my phone with about 20 unbackupped videos or 30 unbackupped videos falling into the water. Well, I didn't take my underwater camera because the sound is very bad on that one. The video quality is even acceptable, but not the sound quality, because I have, of course, the cheapest rip-off camera. Not any more fruit. There was just this one place where we saw 4 or 5 clusters. There is an inflorescence. I don't know if you can see it in the shade. Don't seem to be in season. Or maybe there was some sort of big flood a couple months ago, because all the older leaves are broken. Are there behind the fishing net. There is a good cluster, but of course they don't want to go with the boat and destroy some other person's fishing net. That would be very mean, and also not, well, it would be very bad for the boat and very bad for the net, but also not good for the boat. We don't want to get trapped in a net around here. Yeah, very few fruit. Sometimes, for example, in Java, I saw tons of fruit, also in the area of Cebu, but here they don't seem to be in season. Well, the Nippa palm is one of the most useful plants you can imagine in the coastal areas of Southeast Asia. I already mentioned the erosion and tsunami and storm and wave and flood protection. I mean, they have the mangrove forest here, but still there are a lot of areas where the Nippa palm dominates. Also, they like to use the leaves. In Java, where people are a lot poorer, I saw a lot of houses and many sheds covered with the... so now they are pointing towards the small cluster, not the big cluster here. Well, in Java, it's quite common to cover houses with it. The leaves are bigger than coconut leaves. They are lower. You don't need to climb a tree to cut off the leaves. And of course, you don't have to deprive a nice coconut bearing tree of its leaves and nutrition. Here they are not used so much for building. The local village chief had a shed next to his house, or basically a little roof next to his house, where he could put his tools and work during the rain and during the sun. So here it's not as important for building material as it is in the poor regions of Java, and as it was here probably until 50 years ago. But it's still being used for roofs. It's still being used to make smaller items. I mean, sturdy leaves, no spines. That's quite the useful stuff. Also, they use the heart of palm and the young, very young leaves to they sell them on the markets and cook them as a vegetable. I'm pretty sure they are making something from the flowers. A lot of flowers of different palms are being used for human consumption, and maybe they even make something from the palm juice, but I don't know. And since those people here are Muslims, they don't make alcoholic beverages. The Christian Dayak make a lot of palm wine. So maybe this use is not so widespread anymore since they have a lot of money to buy sugar, so they don't need to use palm sap anymore. They saw another fruit, but each time the driver, the captain of the boat, wants to continue. So there were already 4 or 5 occasions where they told them they saw some fruit, but for some reason he wants to go on. So look, here where the water is not so salty anymore, there is a lot of Nippa palms. More on this side of the river. Here the Nippa palm thickets stretch for dozens of meters inland. Well, here they are just a little bit under the trees. Let's see, I don't see any fruit here. But they are discussing again, so maybe they want to stop here. So I was wondering why there is not so much Nippa palm along the coast. Here they seem to be a little bit more inland. Maybe because the river is not so big, or the sea currents are removing the fresh water, so the area around the village, the sea is quite salty. So that's why the Nippa palm was not so dominant at the estuary, but rather a couple hundred meters inland. So now we are entering a very small side stream, not big enough to have, even to have direct sunlight, but definitely big enough to have giant man-eating crocodiles. But for now I just see crabs running away from us. There are some animals making giant mounds here. I guess maybe this is some crab. Look at those mounds, they're sometimes over a meter high. So we are going that way. Walking that way?
Yeah.
Walking, not by boat.
You want to walk in?
Okay, so I'm finishing this video and walking over to where the sky is, and then I will start with the next video.